These days, you must be wealthy like Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, Oliver Queen, Donald Trump, George Soros, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, handsome like Jeremy Meeks, with a physique like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, The Rock, Magic Mike, and take them on constant adventures like Indiana Jones, Tintin, Magnum P.I., or Nathan Drake from Uncharted, just to be considered passable by a 4 out of 10 feminist. The funny part is, if those women find a perfect guy, they still cheat on him or dump him. He is too perfect. I need a bad boy. Many, if not all of these women found their perfect man years ago, but they were looking for something that was unattainable or did not exist, so they ignored him or tossed him aside. Here's the truth. There is absolutely no shortage of men willing and able to love women till death do them part. The problem is, there are incredibly few women left who are worthy and deserving of a man's love. Men who have a lot of the qualities women want are not limited to women in the US or even Europe. American men are in high demand in many other countries, by women who have a lot more of what men actually value. Today, the typical modern woman wants to date a man with a similar or higher salary and level position of job to maintain a good lifestyle. She will not date down unless that man is Chad or Tyrone. She wants all the benefits. I guess for modern women to return to being feminine, gentle, trustworthy, and reliable is just as possible as for a flower to be fresh and beautiful again before it dies. Impossible. Ladies, don't wait at the finish line for a man. It might work, but there will be competition. You need to start the race with him and support him till the finish line. You will know him better than any other woman, and the competition will be next to nothing. Modern women in the US are like half-rotten vegetables in the grocery store that have a huge price tag on top of being of low quality. Either you buy a different vegetable that is of much higher quality and way cheaper, talking about the passport bros, or you realize that you are not willing to pay $50 for some low-quality vegetable and don't buy vegetables at all today, talking about men going their way. Some vegetables are nice on your food table, no question about that. But if low quality combines with a huge price tag, you can do perfectly fine without them too. I think modern women don't understand how much work, energy, and time it takes for a high-value man to be high value. They think he gets paid that much and has all those things because of patriarchy, and it just happens to him, so he will have the time to spend entertaining her round the clock. Here is a reality. Women were not always lazy pieces of whatever they are today. Back in the day, when people talked about how women just had to cook and clean, well, they don't know what cooking and cleaning actually meant. 50 years ago, washing clothes was an entire day's work. And I mean 15 to 22 hours of work, because now you put clothes in a box and press a button and sit on your butt. Back then, you had to sit on a small bench and scrub the living hell out of clothes to actually clean them. And then, you had to scrub every piece of cloth by hand, which some stains could take hours to get out. And then the woman had to hang the clothes and hit the clothes with a specialized item to keep them from wrinkling too much. Then, the women had to iron each piece of clothing to get the remaining water out. Laundry was a literal heavy-duty work item that women mostly did once a week because it took so long that they needed to do other chores as well. Sweeping was done by hand and there was no vacuuming. Mopping was done by getting on your hands and knees and scrubbing. There were no fancy chemicals to clean a toilet, so the woman had to grab a scrubber and push her ungloved hand into the toilet and scrub. Dishes were done by hand, and dishes were the easiest of chores. But women still had to throw wood into the boiler because there was no gas or very few gas boilers. There was no electric anything, and most women had to use one big pot to boil water on the stove and pour those 10 gallons of boiling water into the sink. A gallon of water weighs about 7 to 7.5 pounds, which means women were lifting 70 to 75 pounds daily to wash dishes. To boil that amount of water, they used a wood stove, which meant they had to keep the stove properly controlled to control the amount of heat used to heat up and cook items. Dishes took on average around 3 to 5 hours to do because that is what it took. Cleaning daily took 3 to 8 hours. Cooking was done by hand, and there were no easy recipes, so everything had to be made by hand. Well, there were not even easy things like spaghetti because that did not exist. The point is, when we look at history, we can figure things out and tell feminists that the context of work or household chores back then was very different. People didn't think of it as work. They thought of it as life. You are the one who doesn't want to do anything, and this is why you quote history out of context, just to make your biased point. For most women today, Instead of a man who manages his finances well, Chad and Tyrone are more exciting. Most likely, your current vehicle serves your needs well, negating the need for a second one. You'd rather invest in something else, or save the money you'd be using for the car payments. Men are quite straightforward, however. Women often become weary of their purchases quickly and crave new things. Do not forget that women make up the majority of consumers in the economy. So it makes sense that they always have enormous bags with them when they visit a mall. Of course, if the guy falters at any moment, the girl has the right to consider other options. I'm not denying that. Women's selfishness encourages men to go their own way. Long ago, the majority of people accepted the notion that women are naturally valuable and males are forced by nature to establish their own value. Men who go their own way accept the unfairness of life, unlike contemporary women who seek out the best men without contributing anything of value to the relationship. The majority of men put a lot of effort into developing themselves and adding value. And you know what? When they go home from work after a long day at work and are in a relationship, they don't consider mistreating their partners. Men who are committed to a partnership strive to support their families and do not mistreat women or young people. Some women continue to ask where the good men are, despite all the evidence urging males to avoid the dating scene. The good men are not in outer space or on a barren island. You were unaware of them even though they were and are in front of you. I firmly believe that women should learn how to appreciate being alone rather than hopping from man to man and feeling frustrated that they can't find a partner, just as many men are learning to do. A good dose of isolation and reflection would be beneficial. Instead of focusing on themselves to improve what they have to offer, they would rather fantasize about the qualities they want in a partner. Men are realizing they don't need to put women on pedestals. It's not enough to just work out and put on more makeup, particularly if they do it after running into the wall. Women only need to keep their beauty at the age of 18, whilst guys are literally nobodies. Men are beginning to realize the truth and are no longer ready to treat women like idols. Women feel they deserve to be treated like royalty. They think that simply being female entitles them to special treatment in all facets of life from everyone in the world. They feel as though the entire world owes them everything there is, including all the jewels, cash, business, resources, money, fame, and whatnot. In every regard, their amount of narcissism is astounding. Because of their firm conviction that they are the prize, it actually takes them decades and decades of experience to realize that the world owes them nothing. They owe nothing to their husbands, partners, boyfriends, or lovers. Nobody is required to give a woman what she wants from them just because she is pretty or because she is outspoken about her entitlement. Women want success and will have it by aligning themselves with successful men. Always remember that women don't care how difficult your work is. They merely seek the advantages, rewards, and products of your labor. Imperfect women want to be in the driver's seat as you drive your car to pursue perfect success. When they sense that the voyage isn't leading to something positive for themselves, they will stop. Whether or not she feels good about herself, a good woman will help you through your difficulties if you want to discover one. But modern women will use you to climb the ladder and attach themselves to the next person. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.